Hello, everyone. Welcome back to PopCultX, your YouTube podcast show where we chat about all things pop culture from me, Danny, and Gabe's Gen X perspective. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for subscribing, liking, and sharing with us what your thoughts are about pop culture, because we want to know what you think so we can share our thoughts on it as well. It's been kind of a slow week, I think, for me this week. And I think for Gabe, you said it's also kind of a slow week for you as well. But there are a few things that kind of stood out for you. Go ahead and tell us what really just one of the only few things that stood out for you this week, I guess.
Right. So the thing that's really getting stuck in my crawl this week is
what grinds my gear.
Yeah, it really grinds my gears. Is Pink released her new album. I think it's called Trust Fall. It's a really great album. It's really personable. She performs really well on it, singing. But a lot of the male interviewers that are interviewing her are really fixated on this like folklore tale of her and Christina Aguilera meeting on the set of Moulin Rouge, like literally like 20 years ago when they were like 19 and 20, and how they clashed and like butted heads. And the thing that's sort of sad is that Howard Stern has now talked about it. I think that she was on maybe Fox News and they talked about it as well, and Vanity Fair and Variety. And now it's sort of in like the cultural zeitgeist where it's just talking about this feud between Christina and Pink that has been pretty much been laid to rest like decades ago. And it's now overshadowing her album. And what this really personal album that I'm sure she spent a lot of time writing the lyrics and coming up with all the musical arrangements and things. And the thing is that kind of makes me a little bit saddened by the whole media aspect of it is that you don't really see this drama related to men a lot. You don't hear, people saying, "Oh, Tom Cruise was such a horrible person to work with. You can't look him in the eye." Dustin Hoffman, he's got such a short man's complex or whatever. Whatever the case may be, like you pretty much, they are able to push their star clout around. But when a woman does it, or especially when two women can be pit against each other, the media like goes crazy. And you can kind of see it. Like I'm just getting inundated with articles where it's talking about this on Twitter, on Facebook, like I said, on all the different, I think People Magazine, Howard Stern show. And it's kind of, it's weird. Like, why is Howard Stern bringing that up 20 odd years later and find it fascinating? One of the old men that was interviewing Pink was like, well, it's a really fascinating story. Is it? Is it really? Like, or are you just, are people really intrigued with the idea of two popular, powerful women butting heads? Like, oh, women can't get along together. If you put them together, they're going to clash, and perpetuating that stereotype. I'm a big fan of Pink. I'm a bigger fan of Christina Aguilera. And I feel kind of bad for both of them because it just continues to overshadow their talent. And like I said, if people were judging me by the way I was at 19, there would be an article being written about. So I don't know. I'm kind of tired of hearing about it, and I'd rather just focus on the talent. It's kind of ironic here we are on a podcast where we do talk about all the periphery of entertainment and how we feel about things. But in this particular instance, like I just want to hear Pink sing. I don't really care about her story about what happened 20 years ago. I just want to hear her sing really well, do a couple of flips and cartwheels like she's known to do, and enjoy her performance. Is that too much?
No, it's not too much. It's perfectly reasonable expectation, I guess. I'm confused about one thing though. So who brought up the topic about it? Did Pink bring it up, or did like Howard Stern and the interviewers?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like it's sort of, there is, I think, some culpability when it comes to Pink because she is a seasoned entertainer. 2 decades later, she could say, you know what, this is a really tired story. I refuse to talk about it. I have a new album out. I want to focus on this. Yeah. But I think that the slant that she had been going with is like, well, regardless of us making up Christina Aguilera and her, like what happened, and I'm not going to mince words about it. But at the same time, like, by doing that and rehashing the story, you're allowing everyone to focus on it yet again. And she brought up a story about Madonna, about her and Madonna not necessarily getting along. So it's sort of, I don't know. It just kind of seems like Pink versus the world, or so many
Mm,
other female artists. And it's like, focus on your music. That's why people like you. That's why
yeah.
people are interested in the new album, and your lyrics and your performance of your lyrics. Not these old. I mean, we've heard the story. We've heard that they didn't get along, that Christina was like the little diva on the set, and Pink sort of pushed back on that. That's pretty much it. Like, there's not much more you need to do. So, like, why is it so like, why is it fascinating? Why is it fascinating for like Howard Stern to bring it up yet again 20 years later?
Right, right.
Is it that interesting to hear about a 20-year-old story? I don't think so.
My only thought would be if he has nothing else to talk about, so he has to stir up controversy, stir the pot somehow. Isn't that
Right.
his whole thing, right? Just pushing the boundaries, and that's what he's made a career out of.
Well, and
So
I'm kind of curious because obviously she has some sort of marketing team or PR people. I know that there's some controversy around Pink because she has a commercial now for like COVID vaccination. So a lot of like the Christian um, anti-COVID vaccine people are sort of out like against her. So I'm wondering if this is her way of dealing with that like, oh, forget about that controversy. Let's focus
that's
on Christina Aguilera was a little bitch. I'm curious if there's some of that to it, or if this is a story that maybe she just happened to be talking to Howard Stern, and now like all the other outlets picked up on it, and now it's turning into like this big, storm of focus on that aspect of her career when she has a really great album that's out that people are ignoring.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I can understand from like the PR firm saying let's push to the next news cycle, right, to get
Yeah.
rid of that one, and it. I think Woody Harrelson needs to look into something like that. Did you hear about his SNL monologue?
No, I'm dying to hear about it.
So I didn't get to see it, but he hosted Saturday Night Live this past weekend, and I guess during his monologue, he made a few remarks over the COVID vaccine mandates, and he said, and I'm quoting this. This is what he said on script. He said that the biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes, and people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. Now, and he said that's about an alleged film script he read, and that he said that he threw the script away because he says, I mean, who's going to believe that crazy idea, being forced to do drugs? I do that voluntarily all day long. So I personally, I think it was a joke that maybe didn't land well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he truly believes something like that, and maybe people are just pushing it out of context and making it more of bigger thing than it needs to be.
Yeah. I could see him being an anti-vax person because I think he comes off as sort of like one of those like dirty hippies that like smokes showers like once a week. I could be wrong, but that's like the vibe that he gives off. Um, if you want to live on your ranch and you're rich and you don't want to get the vaccine, that's fine. But like, don't use your influence to try to impact the masses to
Yeah.
not get vaccinated when old people and young people are most vulnerable, and they're could potentially die because you want to be cool and hip and say, oh, just smoke things that grow out of the ground and you'll be fine. I don't know. I don't really know much about Woody Harrelson outside of like White Man Can't Jump or whatever, and the Hunger Games. So I don't know. Maybe it was a bad joke that went wrong.
Yeah.
So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, I suppose, until he really comes out and says that he's like a wackadoo.
Yeah, I think he'd need to make a more firmer stance than on a comedy show, right? Because it's kind of hard to tell where is he being satirical or where is he being genuine.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's just something you sparked my memory when you were talking about Pink and the vaccine commercial.
Yeah.
One other thing I did see in pop culture that was a positive and enjoyable thing, at least because these are two of my favorite actresses. So the SAG Awards were last night, the Screen Actors Guild, and the they had for the what was it for the best actor in a television movie, they had Audrey Plaza and Jenna Ortega come out to present together.
Oh, nice.
So as you know, both of them give very similar vibes, give that very, deadpan, iconic staring type thing. And
Both Latino women.
exactly. So the Audrey Plaza says, "I don't know why they paired us together," and then Jenna Ortega says, "Yeah, we have nothing in common," and then they just stand there and stare for a while. So that was really funny. I'm glad that pairing happened because I think they should. Why not make a movie together? They'd be perfect pair for something
I could
that
see them
line.
like sisters or something like that, or I don't know, best friends that are sort of from the same vein of toward personality. I think that's a perfect match. But the other kind of news from the SAG Awards is that Everything All at Once is sort of backing up all the awards. So I'm really happy to hear about that. I think Michelle Yeoh is the first Asian actress or to win for Best Actress, I think, for the Screen Actors Guild. If I'm
same as K. Wan Quinn, or I always forget how to say his name. He's the first Asian actor to win for supporting actor as well. So
nice. Is congrats. He from the Goonies?
Yes.
That's really cool that he's, kind of having a new upswing in his career.
Well, that was his whole thing, right? He was in the Goonies. He was also in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom short round. And then 40 years later, he's back at it now. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I wonder where the rest of the Goonies are. Well, I know where some of them are. I mean, Lord of the Rings, Sean Astin. Thanos is Josh Brolin. Martha Plimpton had a show a little while ago, I think called, I don't know, something Irish. She had like an Irish family show.
Oh, okay.
And then the other girl, I don't know whatever happened to her.
And then Corey Feldman's Corey Feldman,
Corey Feldman's still being Corey Feldman until today.
And the kid who played Chunk, I think is now a lawyer, and he's the one that actually negotiated Kay's contract for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's really cool that they did that together. They're still working together.
In my mind, they still get together like once a month or something.
They probably do some sort of Zoom phone call or something like that. I wouldn't doubt it.
Cool. Yeah. Like I don't know. Like I always want ensemble cast to remain friends, even though like I know that some are like famously not friends, but I always want them like. How cool, like, especially for something that's so legendary like Goonies, like that's a pop cult classic. Like, how are you not like that's like so part of our generation, and everyone remembers that movie. You guys have to stay friends.
Yeah, definitely. They should do like Star Trek does for like the Trek conventions, do a Goonies convention. I'm sure that would draw a crowd, at least, not maybe multiple times a year, but once a year, once every couple of years. Yeah. And they do that even like for Comic Cons now or other ones where they get casts that come back together, right? And I'm sure that's what a lot of people go to these conventions for, is to see these people, all the stars up all together on one stage instead of, individual, see one here on like Jimmy Fallon or one here on Stephen Colbert, but they're all there together on the same stage. So, what do you go to conventions for? I mean, you go to a lot more than me.
Right now, I like going for original art that I can't find anywhere else. So I used to buy comics, like I would find deals on comics and buy them, and I'm like, that. I mean, that's fine, but now I'm like, I want to buy like artists, not necessarily local artists, but artists that I don't have access to. Like, for example, these prints by Maria Wolf, that you don't necessarily have access to all the time. So for WonderCon that's coming up the end of March. That's what I'm looking for. I have like one wall that's completely blank and white.
You're like, yes.
Yeah, so I want to like get some like cool original art. I actually have a print of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman that I bought. Nice. I'm like waiting to see what else I can buy to that sort of, so I know how to hang the frames. So yeah, that's what I go for. And also to meet artists that I really like Maria Wolf. I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but Maria Wolf, Ed Luce, who is also on the show, are on our podcast. Just really, I mean, they're cool artists, and I just kind of like meeting up with them and seeing what they've got going on, and buying some of their newest swag. Ed's really cool, like really good at like creating swag like outside of the comic books. I try to collect a lot of the stuff that he has as well.
That's an
What about
interesting.
you? I know it's been a while since you've been to a con,
It's only
but
been about 20 years, yeah, or more. But that is interesting. I never thought about, going there just for like the one-off artworks from the different artists. That is a very good point. And I think when we go to WonderCon, I hopefully will be there as well.
yeah.
That is something that I will hone in on as well, because you have artists from all across the country, sometimes all across the world, and they're bringing in their artwork. So it's not just what you see on comic books, which you could pick up at any local comic book store. And I highly recommend doing that. Go support them, but support the artists at these conventions, because this is where I guess they would tend to make a lot of money from. But yeah, that's something I look forward to doing it, as well as seeing the artists, meeting them, hopefully getting to meet some of the people we've interviewed, meeting them in person. That'd be kind of fun. And yeah, just talking shop, hearing their stories. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and I think it's cool for them too, because they get to kind of meet with their fans, and to find out that you have some dork that's from the Gen X generation buying all your variant covers. I mean, it has to be some sort of like esteem boost to know that you have fans, like that. I think that's cool to, especially for artists, that aren't the Jim Lees. Obviously Jim has a huge fan base, or J. Scott Campbell. I love them as well, but I'm really into like some of the more the smaller variant artists, like like the ones that I've already mentioned. So
you're saying Maria Wolf, Peach Momoko.
Every time I mention them, I have to do a shot.
That's funny. Yeah. I think, yeah, I'm really into, I love collecting comic books, especially ones that I just like the cover art. And I have no idea sometimes what the story's about, but the cover art is just so striking to me, and then I'll just buy it for that. So
yeah, it's like little mini art prints, really. And I think that a lot of the big publishers have really caught on to that, because I've definitely bought some really cool covers, and the inside is not that great as far as story or artwork, but they have like a really cool cover. And I think that they just know that people are collecting the covers because they're so cool. It's like an art really that you can get for $4, $5.
I completely agree. I think we should maybe hint at something that we're going to be doing here in PopCultX then, and that is a little giveaway that we kind of discussed briefly. And more details will come soon for everyone out there. But if you're watching the show and you've already subscribed to us, you're one step ahead of the crowd. But yeah, look for a art piece, comic book variant piece coming up soon in a PopCultX giveaway. So stay tuned for more details on that.
Nice. Can I win?
Maybe. Maybe I'll just take a picture of it and send it to you.
Disclaimer, like excluding actual podcast.
Exactly. We'll have to put some sort of disclaimer, like if you live at such and such address in San Diego, you can't win. Other than that, I've been. They released the season 3 trailer for Ted Lasso from Apple TV, and it looks really good. And I think so. There's a huge contingency on like Twitter that are calling for like certain things to happen within the show that they really want to see happen. Like, for example, Ted Lasso and Rebecca becoming a couple, right? So that's like a huge fan base is really promoting that. They really want that. And what made me laugh today is when they released the trailer, is that the song they used in the background was "You Can't Always Get What You Want." So
Oh,
I
that's
think
funny.
they're paying. I don't know if they're poking fun at all those people because you can't always get what you want. So I got
Yeah.
a good chuckle out of that. I'm really looking forward to this. So much so that I'll do a little promotion for this little feature we have on PopCultX that we're calling a TED Talk. Now you might have seen some of the short videos, but previous guest host and I, Tori King, we will be doing a recap episode or recap show, I guess, giving our thoughts and opinions after each episode airs throughout season 3. So that's something to look forward to. I'm excited for that because it's a very fun show, and I can't bug you too much to watch it because it doesn't seem like you're gonna.
Okay, so I had a question. Do Ted Lasso fans have a nickname? Like, are they called like Lassos or
Lasso heads?
Ted Heads or like? I'm pretty
Ted
sure there
heads.
must be some sort of nickname for him, right?
I think when season 1 was playing out, I remember chatting or tweeting back and forth with like Bill Lawrence, the one of the executive producers, and I think he came up with like Ted Head, like you said. I think that was like the thing, the Ted Heads or something like that. But I don't know if there's any like official support group for us or not. I don't know.
I was just curious, but I do like it. It's just it's one of those shows that like I forget about. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really invested in watching The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
And I have religiously been watching that. Um, but unfortunately, I have to catch up on Ted Lasso because I'm way behind. Maybe I'll this weekend I'll try to catch up and that way by the time it comes around I'll be able to be watching it live as it happens.
Yeah, if you have a chance, go for it. It's really good. Season 2. I just rewatched all of season 2 this past weekend. So if I can do it, you can do it. And it was even better the second time around for me. I picked up more, I think, on the writing. I knew what the story was going to happen, so I was just really honing in on their writing skills and where they were focusing different things and just the little details that they bring to each episode is really cool.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I've been reading a lot, so I don't have a lot to contribute when it comes to pop culture.
Well,
Let me share with you the book that I'm actually reading. It's called Aliens Vasquez.
I've heard about
I
that
don't know
book.
why I said it like that. Aliens Vasquez. All of a sudden, I turned into like the whitest white man. It's by an author named V. Castro, and it's basically what happened before Lieutenant Vasquez goes up into aliens and gets killed. She actually has a family. Don't want to ruin it, but I'm about that far into it.
Nice.
So that's what I'm currently doing right now. So it is like definitely support Latino authors. This particular author I said is her name is V. Castro. So check it out, especially if you're a fan of the Aliens movie. In particular, the Vasquez. I can't say. I don't know why I can't say that name.
Vasquez.
And or if you're into science fiction and you want to support Latina authors, check it out. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I actually follow her on Twitter, so I saw that book when she was promoting it, or she still is promoted, but I saw when she first announced it, so that was really cool. I want to read that. And I'm not a huge Alien universe fan. I mean, I've seen like the first one for sure, and then I've seen like a few of the other ones. I haven't watched Prometheus, which I heard is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this book looks interesting to me.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, definitely check it out. There are some other Latino authors that I have that are sort of, I've got like 5 or 6 books that I need to catch up on. I'm falling behind, but that's what I'm currently reading right now. So if anyone wants to start reading it and then like, comment about what you like, what you didn't like about it, but maybe by the next filming, I'll be done with it. And then we can bring up any of the comments that people have in regards to it.
I'll check it out, see if I can get it on my library phone app thing, and I'll see if I can read it. And we can do like a book club part of it for next week.
Yes, sweet. Yeah, but
Cool.
other than that, I actually, as much as I talked about the controversy with Pink, I've been actually listening to her album, and it's actually quite good. So I recommend that as well. I've been listening to that, and oddly enough, I was listening to last night an old um album of Queen Latifah, like going back to like
Mm.
1991, and just listening to like some old school like East Coast rap, and I was listening to it to fall asleep to, and.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. Interesting to
yeah,
fall
yeah.
music to fall
I
asleep
listen
to.
to very weird music to fall asleep to. And last night it was Queen Latifah. So if any of the youngins don't know who Queen Latifah is, outside of from her acting, because now she's kind of, I think, known more for her acting than she is for her
Hmm.
rap. Go check out her album. I think it was from around 1991, like you said. Really good. I think it was when I was in like eighth grade, freshman year in high school. And I remember listening to it even back then. So cool album.
What was there any album sticking in that time frame besides the Queen Latifah that really that you had like the lyrics memorized to, or that you was like really played over and over again? I know mine from
We'll
that time
probably
frame.
say like that era, like anything by Nirvana, The Smashing Pumpkins, Hole. I kind of played those like Mazzy Star was probably like the weirdest thing that people were like, "Wow, you listen to that." Um, but yeah, all of those groups I had all on heavy rotation. Tori Amos, um, lots of weird stuff, like really eclectic stuff. What
That's
about
cool.
you?
I remember like one of the very first ones I remember the neighborhood kids and I we would listen to Beastie Boys License to Ill,
Mm.
and we would listen to that over and over and over again, and like we would like knew all the lyrics to like Paul Revere. So it's like one of my favorite albums. Of course, I find out later on that they're three Jewish boys from New York City. So it's like, hey, that's cool, even better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I when it comes to rap, like I really had weird interest in rap. Like I did like some like gangster rap, like Ghetto Boys, or I really like Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill was like
mhm.
one of my favorite bands. I saw them before their album came out, and that made me like them even more. And then so I sort of like progressively kind of grew with them. There's three albums that came out. So I would probably say Cypress Hill was probably the one rap album that like I knew lyric wise. I wasn't a really big
Nice.
fan of the Beastie Boys. For some like they're I don't know, like I feel like I grew out of them really quickly. Their party, like kind of teenager, I don't know, they
Hmm.
just have I'm sure you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I know
about,
what you
but I
mean.
just kind of grew out of one of their songs, what is it, right to party, or you gotta
Yeah,
fight for
fight
your
to
right to
right. Hmm.
that is literally probably in my top 10 of like least favorite songs of all time. I literally cannot stand that song. I don't know why, but we should do like an anti favorite favorite song and do like the top 10 songs like you hate, and that would have to be on my top 10.
But I don't know if I hate any song. I mean, I probably do, and probably like, oh, I
You
can't
have to have a
stand that.
song that like that. Let me preface it by this: like a song that like a lot of people love, but that you dislike. That like
Okay,
if you're at a party, a lot of people would be excited to hear, but you're like cringing and you're like, ugh, I don't want to hear this song again.
I could tell you one band, not a song, but a band, and that would be Metallica.
Really?
Yeah, sorry, I can't stand their music. Maybe it has to do with like the the guy suing the kids for Napster issue,
Yeah.
or maybe it was because my ex brother-in-law really liked them and ruined it for me. I don't know, but it's yeah, I can't
Oh,
stand them. Just just not for me.
yeah. All right. That's fair enough.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. We'll end on a high note with me hating on Metallica
Yeah.
because, go
They
out with
might
a
sue
bang.
us.
Yeah. Free speech, man. Free speech. So thank you everyone again for tuning in, for sticking with us. We're 5 episodes away from 100, so I'm excited about that. Maybe we'll do the giveaway for episode 100. That would make sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. See, brainstorming here live with you guys.
Yeah.
So tune in, like I said, to our TED Talk, which is going to be a YouTube exclusive. So you have to head to YouTube for that. It's not going to be part of the normal podcast download. So thank you guys again, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Stay safe.